السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته طلاب الصف الثاني الابتدائي. تعالوا بينا نكمل Unit 2 ونروح على Lessons 3 and 4 ونشوف هنتعلم ايه النهاردة. Use words, language use. Okay, we will use some words to use it in the language. Let's check what we have here. Read and learn. Adjectives. Adjectives. Okay, we learned these kind of words before. Adjectives. If you don't know the meaning of adjective, let's talk about this. Adjective is a kind of word we are using to describe a noun. When you want to tell more information about a noun, any kinds of noun, we can say, for example, nouns like people, like places, like animals, like things. You can use adjective to describe. Okay, so we have here a group of adjective and opposite from the same adjectives. Check here first one, old. Old. The opposite from old, young. Young. This is old man and this is young child. Another adjective, tall. Look at this, tall. But this girl, short. So tall is adjective. The opposite from tall is short. Can you see where the girl? Here. Can you see where the boy? Here. So the boy is tall, but the opposite short. Fast. Fast can run fast. The opposite from adjective fast, slow. Slow. Okay, so we have here kinds of adjective. And now we will move to a kind of question word and words we are using to tell how many times you repeat this action. If we repeat many actions with different numbers of repeating, we can use how often to speak about numbers of repeating your action. How often, which means how many times you repeat this action. How often. Okay, which word we can use to tell about this? We can use often when we repeat this action most of the times, or more times. We will go for one by one after some minutes. Sometimes, let's read first. Often, often, T is silent, often. Sometimes, sometimes, always, always, usually, usually, never, never. Okay, we have some extra vocabulary we need to learn as we will use it later. Women, women, man, man, baby, baby, bike, bike, bicycle, bicycle, car, car. And we have here a group of phrases and sentences. Phrases and sentences, we can use it to complete idea about something. For example, eat breakfast. Eat breakfast to tell when you eat your breakfast in the morning, but it's better to say have breakfast. Have breakfast is more official. Okay, next, how often do you walk to school? This is a question to tell you how many times you repeat walking to school. So we need to know number of this action, walk to school. So I ask about the number with how often do you walk to school? Okay, next. Take the bus. Take the bus, that means you use the bus to go to any place. Take the bus. Every day. Every day. So we speak about something you repeat in each day of use. So we call this every day. Do homework. Okay, here I would like you to pay attention for the verb do. With homework, all the time we should use the verb do. Never use make. It's not correct. The word homework, it's coming with do. Do homework. I do homework. I can do my homework. I finished doing homework. So do is the main verb we can use with the word homework. Okay, go to the park. Go to the park. Play on the swings. Play on the swings. Okay, this is plural. Pay attention. Plural word. Okay, swim in the sea. Swim in the sea. On Wednesday. On Wednesday. Walk to school. Walk to school. Okay, we finished this part. Let's go to learn how we can use these kinds of adjectives that we talk about to describe a noun. Here we have many examples. The first one, the woman is short. So I can describe now this woman as she's short, short. So this adjective helped me to describe the woman. The woman is short. The man is tall. Look at the man. Tall. The man is tall. So I can use the adjective tall to describe the noun man. Okay, another example. The baby is young. The baby is young. So young describing the baby. The woman is old. The woman is old. So, for example, when I ask you a question here, in this sentence, for example, can you find the adjective? Where is the adjective here? The or woman is or short. Which word here is adjective? By default, I can say short is the adjective. Here, where is the adjective word? Where is the adjective word? The baby is young. Which word is adjective? I can understand. I'm studying adjective well, so I can find it. Young is the adjective word, and so on. Next, the car is fast. The car is fast. So I'm describing the car. It's fast. Fast to describe for me car. The bicycle is slow. The bicycle is slow. So slow, adjective, describing for me what? The noun bicycle. So remember now, I'm using the adjective to describe a noun. Okay, what else? We will go to the language part to study the word and. Okay, how can I use the word and? Okay, here, for example, if we have an example, tell me he is tall, he is fast. What can I understand here? I have two sentences to tell about the same person, which is he. I say he is tall, about his length, tall, and also he is fast. So I can here, instead of using two sentences, I can just use one sentence with the two adjectives, tall and fast. Let's check how can I do that. He is tall and fast. So I replace these two adjectives, he is tall, he is fast, with one adjective only, using and between these two adjectives. He is tall and fast. Another example, he is short, she is short, she is slow. So I can use one sentence only saying she is short and slow. So the word and here helping me to write less, just one word, one sentence. Number 3, he is young, he is fast. Yes, he is young and fast. She's old, she's slow. She's old and slow. She's old and slow. So I can use and to add more than one adjective to the same noun. In this sense, I have a noun, I have adjective, I have another adjective for the same person, he. So I can use these two adjectives through and for the same person, he. Okay, let's go now to know how can I use these words to know numbers of repeating the action. Here, how often do you walk to school? For example, I need to know about the number of walking to school. How can I know the number? I'm using how often to ask you about number, how many numbers you are repeating this action, walking to school. Let's check the first word. I walk to school every day. So if I do the action every day, that means I'm repeating it all the time. I always walk to school. In this case, I can use the word always, which means I repeat the action every day. Every day I'm doing that. In this case, I can say, I always walk to school. Okay, another case, if I repeat the action, yes, many times, but maybe one time I didn't do this action. For example, I can use usually, which means I'm doing this action many times, but only maybe one time only I stop doing this action. I usually walk to school. On Wednesday, I take the bus. So I have only one day of the week I stop doing the same action, walking to school. So if I do this action, for example, 6 days of the week, but one day only, I don't do that, for example, so I can use usually. Okay, here you can find repeating of the action. Another word, I often. Often walk to school, which means I'm doing walking to school maybe, for example, 3 days, and another 2 days I don't do this action or less. So I'm doing this action many times, but maybe 1, 2, or 3 days I don't do that, which means I often walk to school. By maybe 2 days I don't go to school walking. Okay, another word, sometimes. I sometimes walk to school, which means that sometimes I walk to school, but another time, sometimes I have a bus. I take the bus, or I go by car, or I'm using any kind of transportation. So in this case, sometimes walk to school, but in another time I go by bus. But in another time I go by car. But in another time I can go by bicycle, for example. Okay, another word, never, which means I don't do this action anytime. I never do that. So example here, I never walk to school, which means I'm going by car, like this picture. I'm going by bus, for example. I'm going by bicycle, for example, but never walk to school. So this action, walk, I don't do anytime. Never I do that. So in this case, I can use the word never, which means I don't do this action. Okay, let's check here number of persons using the words. How often is the question word that give me the information about number of repeating the action. So if I wanted to know how many times you repeat this action, use how often. For example, how often do you, for example, finish your homework early? I always finish my homework early, which means all the time. But if you do that, some days we can say, sometimes I finish my homework early, but in another time I finish late. For example, here we have percent. Look at this. How often? If I answer with always, it means I repeat this action 100%. I always do this action. Usually, it means I'm repeating this action 80%. 80%. So I have 20%. I don't do this action. Often, it means I repeat this action 60%. but I have 40%, I don't do this action. Maybe I do another action. Sometimes 30%. So it means I'm repeating this action 30 times, but 70 times I don't do this action. Never, never, 0%. I don't do this action at all. So 100%, I do another action. 100%, I do another action. Never do this action. 0% repeating the action. Okay, this to remember, how can I use, how often, and how can I answer about this question. And here we have a part to remind us, remember about present simple simple tense. Present simple tense, do you remember this? We have here just one information to remind you about using present simple tense with he, she, it as pronouns or singular noun. Okay, so if one of these is the subject of the sentence, I should use the verb with s or es. To remember also sometimes or ies if the verb ends with y. Okay, let's check about s and es. Here we have some examples. I, it's a kind of pronoun. Do you think if you use I, do we add any s or es to the verb? Never. After I, we, you, they, or plural noun, we use the verb infinitive. The verb should be infinitive. Okay, so here, I'm using I with infinitive verb. So I always, which means I repeat this action all the time. Do. Look, I do. Infinitive verb, my homework. I always do my homework. So here, I'm using always about action I repeat every day or all the time, I mean. And also I'm using the present simple tense rules. So I never add anything to the verb in infinitive. Okay, another part, she. Here I can use she. So the verb she should be with s or es. Check here. She sometimes walks. Okay, after she, the verb with s here. Walks to school. Sometimes, which means sometimes walks to school. Sometimes she doesn't do that. I often swim. Can you see I with the verb infinitive? I often, which means some 30% of the times we repeat this action, but another times we don't. He don't swim. I don't swim in the sea. He, so I have to add something to the verb. He usually goes. Here I add to the verb es. He, the verb I add es. Do you know why? Anyone can answer. Why I add es to go? Look at O. If the verb ends with O, X, SH, CH, or Z, or double S, we have to add to the verb ES, not S only. So he usually goes to the park. Okay, these are a group of examples to remember about present simple tense. And we have another point to remember about preposition. The preposition on. Preposition on, we use this with days of the week. Okay, how we can use that? Example here, on Saturday, on Monday, on Wednesday, on Tuesday, on Friday, with all 7 days of the week. Usually, all the time, I mean always, not usually here. Always we use on with days of the week. Okay, I think we finished. Congratulations, dears. in this part, we can say we finished lessons 3 and 4. I would like to thank you so much, dears, that you're watching this video. If this is the first time you see this video, please subscribe in my channel. And don't forget to make like, share for other people. And I wish to see you in the next video. Thank you so much, dears. See you next video, inshallah.